Welcome to Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, 12:30 on Thursdays during your lunch break on RVN TV, where we talk to the power networkers of the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. I almost left without my coffee. Oh my God, could have been a bad day. But I am here with Mark. Mark, how do you pronounce your last name?
Last name is pronounced Kratzer.
Kratzer.
That's correct.
Kratzer.
Yes.
Okay, I was going to say something probably insensitive. So not Kratzer, not Crapster.
That I've been called worse.
We've been called. Okay, good. Just want to make sure. Good. We're on the same page. Perfect.
That's right.
No, I'm so glad you're here today. So for everybody that's joining us today, we're talking about power networkers in the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. However, my background started in improvisation, and it started in being behind the scenes, working in business and entertainment and things of that nature. But my background is improvisation. Your background is also in that.
Yes.
And you are one of the only people I've had on the show that has taken their background experience and put it into, or their performance experience,
Sure.
and put it into a business. And I'm really excited that you're here.
Thank you.
But we also met Tuesday, so
Yes,
it's a
we
good
did.
day.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So originally we were supposed to have a friend on, but then they canceled. I was on the phone with you. We had a great time.
Yes.
And I was like, you should definitely come on the show.
Well, I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
I'm so thrilled. All right, so do me a favor. Tell people who you are, what you do, and what makes you awesome.
So, who I am. My name is Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Kratzer, of course. I was originally born in Bethlehem.
Ooh, okay, so you're a Pennsylvania native.
I'm a Pennsylvania native.
Okay.
My father's name was Joseph. My mother's name was Mary.
Oh,
And
gosh.
I was born in Bethlehem. So a fun little tidbit.
Oh my God, do you have a God complex? Is that what?
My middle name is not Jesus.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Although
Awesome.
there's nothing wrong with that. But
No.
yeah, grew up in the Lehigh Valley.
Okay.
Ended up joining the Navy pretty
Wow.
much after high school.
What was the reason for joining the Navy?
Well, growing up in Bethlehem at the time, back in the 80s, the Bethlehem Steel was going down. There was
Right.
not a lot of opportunities in that little town, and so I wanted to see the world.
Yeah.
I wanted to get gain a profession, and so my dad was a Marine,
he was?
drill sergeant, so he really joined for me.
Yeah, you were voluntold.
Yeah. All of a sudden, one day, I found myself in Great Lakes with no hair, which back then I had hair, and it was like 20 degrees, and I'm like, how did I end up here? But it was really a great decision.
So how was growing up with the dad that was a drill sergeant?
Well, he was also a fireman, and
wow.
so yeah, he was a fireman for 32 years,
Jeez.
and so it was really great. I mean,
Right.
he had a perfect work schedule. Work 4 days, off 4 days, so we had a lot of time to do things together, to fish,
that's
and
really nice.
and of course I was involved in the arts from a young in a young age, and so I had a really wonderful upbringing up in the Lehigh Valley, and it's still a great place. My wife and I go back there very often.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Okay, so you were a Marine.
So actually I was in the Navy. I was a corpsman.
Corpsman. Okay, got it.
Half of us went with the Marines. The corpsmen provide medical treatment for Marines.
Got it.
I just happened to be stationed. I joined the Navy to see the world, and I was stationed in South Philly. So I went from Bethlehem to South Philly.
Oh no.
So and I was never on a ship.
Yeah.
And I really don't even know how to swim.
Yeah, there you go.
I passed my swim test doing the doggy paddle.
You were there. You
but
existed.
It doesn't matter. I passed. I was fine.
So all right, after being in the Navy, what happened?
So after I was in the Navy, I was, like I said, a corpsman, a medic. We operated at a pretty high level medically.
Right.
And then after I got out, I challenged my nursing boards, and I went to work for the Veterans Administration as a nurse.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So what do you mean by challenge? What does that mean?
Based on my Navy schooling, I was able to sit for the state boards. And that's how I got my nursing license, and ended up working for the VA. And they added my military time onto my VA time.
Wow.
And so I, at a rather young age, I left nursing to pursue, of course, a career in business, went to work for a couple startups, and was able to give more time, of course, to my passions in life. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so those passions, where'd those passions lead you?
So those passions, I've had wonderful experiences.
Yeah.
like I said, I've been an actor since I was a child, and eventually joined the Screen Actors Guild, and have done some really neat things in that world. Nothing hugely grandiose, but went to improv training at the Pit in New York City.
Oh, you went to the Pit? No kidding. That's a great training program.
It's a great training program. I'd recommend it for anyone, especially for business, because it's so important in these days that customer-facing folks are able to think on their feet, and be able to adapt to quickly changing environments.
We were talking about this in the green room about what makes, I think, somebody with a kind of background in that area, what makes you different, right? Because everyone that's running a business, they're trying to fix a need, right? They found a need, they're trying to fix it, or trying to put a solution together for something that's in the market that needs fixing, right? But what a lot of people I find, especially since entrepreneurship is so it's been overused. I personally think it's been overused. I think people get into it because they think it's going to be this grandiose kind of experience, and they realize there's a lot of hard work, and you've got to have a lot of thick skin, and you've got to be able to adapt. And what I feel that people without that kind of background of being rejected, of going and identifying different ways to say the same thing, and to come out of a stupid conversation, or if you said something stupid, how to not put your foot in your mouth and save it, right? There's stand up that does a great job with that. There's improv. There's even just auditioning and understanding a monologue. Most of the time that I see people, especially with their pitch, which is why I tell people to get it because no one gives a damn. Is it's a half of a monologue. It's identifying and remembering that stuff. But unless you've done it enough and tried different inflection and seeing what emotional response comes back, you're really not standing out in the crowd. And I think that the benefit that you and I have in that space is that you can kick us down as much as you like. We're just going to find something else to get a reaction out of you.
That's right.
So a reaction, good, bad, or indifferent, but it's a reaction that you can kind of curtail into what makes sense to say to somebody else about what it is that you do.
Of course.
But so tell me more about that experience. So you now, you've been an actor, you've been in SAG, which means you've got waivers, which means you've had speaking roles. For me.
Yes, I've had a few, nothing grandiose, but yes, I.
But you were telling me a story in the green room that I want you to tell the people about your experience with. You were not a stunt double. You were
I was for the last 2 seasons on Billions on Showtime. I was one of John Malkovich's bodyguards.
So how's it working with John Malkovich?
John is really a nice guy, great to work with, great disposition.
So your part was that?
Well, yes, my part was a Russian security guard. So throw me in a suit. Of course, I look the part, and
with or without the earring.
That was without.
Oh my gosh.
That was without. And so a lot of those experiences, like for instance, I was on a few episodes of 30 Rock Live.
Oh, no kidding.
And in fact, someone and it was on the SNL studios, and someone came up to me. I was a tuba player for Tina Fey's birthday band. And one of the producers came up to me and said, "Mark, you know what? You're the only person to have ever played a tuba on the SNL stage." So that is a useless fun fact that I always kind of throw out there.
You're famous.
Oh yeah, in my own mind maybe, but that's it. So
now, all right. So now you've gotten out of being in the Navy. You started doing this acting profession, and how long have you been doing it? You said 20 years?
Since I was a child, but pretty seriously over the last 15, 18 years.
Got it. And so now you've decided to kind of shift gears and take all of your experience and put it into a business that advocates for working actors. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, essentially for working actors, but also after I left nursing, what I did is I transitioned into the B2B startup space, if you will.
I love how you're using quotes because it's like B2B.
That's right. Business to business for all those who might not know. Of course, this is the show, so I hope you all know. And so I made the jump, from nursing to a software sales guy, an online and internet marketing consultant.
God, we're the same person. Sorry, go ahead.
and really flourished there because of my innate ability to be able to know, as a nurse, I know when people need help. I love to help, and people know when you're there to help them versus when you're there to dig in their pockets.
Do you think that you're more in tune to people's emotions because of your experience?
Yeah, definitely. I can relate to people. I actually sold on the phone as well as went out on the road, and for the 5 years I was at, for instance, thomasnet.com, which is an industrial search engine. Out of 400 sales reps, I was #1 2 years in a row.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, it was something that I really loved, to help small to medium-sized businesses, get found. And so what I've decided to do is create a veteran-owned and run ad agency or consulting agency that, where I and another team of veterans can help create a spot for a business, be it a voiceover spot, a local TV commercial, a social media rollout campaign, a jingle, if you will. And we can take that, we can create it when we collab with the client, and then be able to roll it out to whatever, whatever venue they want to roll it out to, and then provide measurable results.
Nice.
And so I've been able to take those two skill sets, the skill set of being an actor, being an improv guy, and also being a sales guy, and kind of mesh them into one, so that I can really just first of all help folks, and then those dividends come afterwards, right? Those desserts of helping people, I like to call it.
And where did you think you got the experience? Meaning, where do you feel like? What do you think you bring to the table?
So I'm a great listener. Many people today, it's a lost art. In this world of instant gratification, a lot of times folks just don't listen. Because of my nursing experience, I tend to be a very good empathizer. So I can empathize with the business owner's pain, and then be able to make some suggestions on how we can alleviate that business owner's pain, and kind of switch it out for, I don't want to say bliss, but that's the goal, right? To be able to help and work with these small to medium-sized businesses who they might be great at what they do, but they might not be very great at what I do.
Right.
And so, the old saying is, if you really want to have a great company, surround yourself with people who are smarter than yourself.
I love that.
And so there's that kind of, it takes a village mentality. And so that's really what I bring to the table, is the ability to listen, to make suggestions, not to oversell someone, and then to educate. There's a big education component in that as well.
Brilliant. So when we return, we're going to talk to Mark about his tactical tips and practical takeaways in networking, his improv workshop he's got coming up, and how to combine the two to be the best power networker in the area. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind the scenes footage, previews, and more.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVN TV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that...
It worked.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. We're back now.
Yes. Hi.
We're just chatting. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for letting me know. Welcome back to Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, on RVN TV. I have the pleasure and the privilege of hanging out with Mark today.
Hey.
Just doing things.
Yeah, hanging out. That's it.
My favorite part about our conversation beforehand was the fact that you're... God, so many, and then maybe just going on a rant here, but so many business owners and people who are starting their own stuff usually have an ego you need to stroke, right? The ego's there. People are just coming in and saying, I'm great at this, blah, 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 blah. There's no empathy, there's no humility, and there's no care and consideration. And if it is, it's typically on a woman business owner. And I'm saying that because women are typically more empathetic. I find it sometimes difficult to find people, except for the guests I've had on the show, because everyone's lovely, that come on and talk about the empathy it takes to kind of, to not only nurture a client, but to nurture a business relationship. And that came out in the very beginning of our conversation about why that's important, that's a priority for you.
Yes.
So now what is the name of your business?
Creative Vets.
Creative Vets.
Ad agency.
Ad
yes.
agency.
Yes.
And so what you're trying to bring to the table is more of an empathetic care to having other small and medium-sized businesses be able to put a creative aspect together for their business to help them grow.
That's right.
Now, as you're going out and you're talking to people, right? And you're trying to learn more about who they are and what they do, because networking in general is a very personal activity.
Yes.
Right? So what are your goals when you go into a networking event, right? Put it this way. Here's an example. You go into an event, you know nobody there, right? You and I, easy, right? We know how to do this because we have been rejected thousands of times.
Of course.
But if you were to go in and teach somebody about how to enter a room, just human behavior wise, what would you suggest from a performance standpoint, and how does that change into working in a business aspect as well?
So yeah, that's a great question, Ashley. I mean, I think it's important to know your audience, right? So as you know, there are varied networking events that we all can attend.
Right.
And they all have a different niche, if you will.
Yep.
So prior to entering into any networking event, what I like to do is find out about the group, who's attending, what type of business owners might be attending, because then that can help me have a better understanding of how to relate to those folks when I walk into the room, and so essentially they say there's this old adage like work the room, and that kind of bothers me a little bit because it seems a little disingenuous. I can spot when someone is just coming up to me trying to maybe sell me something. I think we all can. We've been in business long enough that we know when someone is trying to put the hard sell on us.
And you've been in sales, so you know that I
know that intimately, and in fact, one quick story. I used to sell a lot over the phone and get huge contracts signed without ever shaking anyone's hand. And one of the reasons I would do that is I would leave compelling voicemail messages, educational voicemail messages. I sometimes wear these folks out. Right. I have to learn how to be you have to learn how to cause a little pain for someone to change.
Would you be able to give an example of a kind of message that you would leave?
So for instance, hi John, it's Mark again. I'm sure you're very busy. I was just looking up the categories and people who were searching for your products or services, and I saw that 2 or 3 of your competitors got found over the last couple months, and you didn't get found. And how much is that costing you? Not only the original sale, but the repeat business. So I'd love to spend some time with you to have a discussion on how we can get you found at the exact time someone is looking to fill an immediate need. So that's just one example of a compelling voicemail message. You don't always have to speak to someone in order to get your message through.
It's so creative though, Mark.
Yeah.
That is, but that, even you just saying that right off the cuff just shows how compelling you can be by thinking creatively and hitting on human behavior more than the actual transaction that ends up happening, that may or may not end up happening.
The transaction is the final culmination of the relationship that you've built either in person or over the phone.
Right.
It's a matter of trust. That's really what it is.
Perfect. So tell me more about this improv workshop you're putting together.
So one of the ideas I have for the new business is to add a component called Improv Your Business.
God, I love that so much.
A little take on, improve, but let's improv your business.
I love it.
So folks who are customer facing, sales staff.
I come to that.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely. I mean, improv today is so important, and the ability to think on your feet. And when I say that, I don't mean necessarily to go in and lie to people and to oversell them, but to just be able to get cues from your potential customers or clients.
Right.
And then be able to kind of judge where they're at, what they need, and be able to a business that would have trained improv employees. In my experience, they do much better than just maybe having a sales training every 3 months, or go to a 1 week beach workshop or something like that.
A retreat that everyone's drinking. For God's sake. Let's do the health and wellness retreat. Let's go do yoga and some
fall
mimosas.
backwards and I'll promise to catch you.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Probably not for Karen.
Everybody always caught me. I'm
always
rather
drop
heavy. But,
Everybody drops Karen from HR.
Yes, drop Karen from HR.
That's really exciting. So it's so important. And I think I have not been in that space for so long, and so I think that what I'm certain to try to do for my own self, just learning and education and continuing my education, is to really kind of hone in on those cues, right? To understand, because you and I, again, we like attention. We enjoy being on camera. We enjoy that aspect, that encouragement and the engagement.
Yes.
What I found until doing something like this show and a few other things is that I had to learn to listen, because I had subconsciously tried to prove myself for so long and was rejected for so long that I just wanted to be heard.
Yes.
And what I was missing was the fact that I needed to learn how to listen. So again, with shows like this, is being able to, one, I don't prep you before this. It's a conversation that we have. So the goal is it's a muscle. You have to train that muscle, otherwise you're not going to be able to get to the next step.
Yes.
These are just lessons that I've learned. But I think with improv in business, to your point, there's a lot of talkers, a lot of movers and shakers. If anybody sends me another goddamn invite for a movers and shakers thing, I'm going to punch you in the face. It's like the worst. It's just okay, we get it. You're cool.
Yes.
But it's more of, how are you identifying pain points that are nonverbal? How are you identifying what your pitch is actually resonating with somebody that is not actually telling you they don't like it?
Yes.
Right? And it's knowing your audience. It's like my second slide on my presentations. It's knowing your audience.
That's right.
It's so important.
That's right.
What in that workshop are you, from your experience, from being from as an actor to working in sales, what do you think that people typically need the most in that workshop?
So I would say there's a number of things. The positivity that comes from improv, there's a saying, like, always say yes.
Yeah.
Always be open. Don't have contempt prior to investigation.
Right.
A lot of us think we know what works and what doesn't work, and we have an idea of, and we're trained a lot at our workplaces about exactly how to follow sometimes a script, if you will, and sometimes a script or an elevator pitch isn't going to work on everybody 100% of the time. Right. So some of the things that folks will be able to get from these classes is the spontaneity of being able to address the customer, no matter if they're in customer service or if they're in sales. Right. The ability to listen, the ability to come up with creative ideas that are, sounds cliche, out of the box.
Right, right.
And then, because not only does the client relationship improves, but the company as a whole improves, because all of a sudden now they're morphing into a company that pays attention, a company that is willing to, go with the flow, understand that everyone is in a different situation, and I could talk for another 10 minutes about the benefits of it, but yeah, those are some of the really, really great takeaways. And there's a bunch of different exercises, of course, that are done at these classes, and a lot of them are very fun. And if you've watched Whose Line Is It Anyway, and even Wayne Brady is great, Let's Make a Deal. They do some improv and things like that. But yeah, the ability to just think on your feet and to be able to immediately sit down with a client and to relate to where they are, to empathize with where they are, and to want to play a role into helping them, I think are is really the end result of what improv for business can do for a company.
Oh my goodness, and it's just so important. I think that there's a issue where, like, to your point, the empathy is not there a lot for people in business, because they're usually just one-minded. They're trying to do a goal, and I think the best customer service people are usually the best salespeople, because they empathize.
Yes.
And when you're building a business and you're empathizing with your client, you're listening to their problems, and they're actually fixing the problems that they actually have, instead of just assuming that these are the problems that they're looking for to fix.
Yes.
So if you could give your top 3 tactical tips and practical takeaways in networking surrounding with the theme of improv, what would they be? Because I think you gave one where you were talking about making sure to listen. What other ones would you say to go into? Not be scripted?
Yeah, of course. Not be scripted. The listening is very important, and also, when a client might give you some sort of a pushback. Right.
Ooh,
how are you gonna be able to think on your feet to be able to? I don't want to say push back at them. It's not really a tug of war. It's more like it should be more like a walk in the park.
Yeah.
And so I think the ability because there's a lot of pushbacks, right? When we try to help these folks, there's there's gatekeepers to get through. Sometimes the people who really have the decision to make, decisions aren't the one who hold the title to make decisions.
Right.
So there's all these little nuances on how do you get to the right people, how do you get the right people in the room, and being able to finesse that are just, again, some of the skills that come from improv.
Amazing. Do me a favor, look into that camera and tell people how they can find you.
So you can find me at creativevets.net. That's www.creativevets.net. Also, I am on LinkedIn under the same name. I offer a free 30-minute consultation. I've always had trouble getting all those words out at once.
You're doing great, buddy.
And of course, I'm happy to listen to your pain, to offer any suggestions that I might have in order to ease your pain, to help you get found at the exact time a business is really looking to fill the immediate need.
Guys,
So-
make sure you stay tuned for your improv workshop that's coming soon this
Definitely.
fall.
Yes.
Fall? All right.
Yes. On tap for this fall.
On time for this fall. So everyone, thank you so much for watching today. Connect to Success with me, Ashley Owens, on RVN TV, 12:30 on Thursdays during your lunch break. This coffee's very strong. Please make sure to follow us next week. We're going to be talking to another power networkers in the greater Philadelphia and South Jersey area. You can see all these episodes on rvntv.com. You can also go to ashleysassist.com and also see some of the other stuff that we've got going on. But make sure you stay tuned next week. And thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a great day.